Revealed, a CEO's incredible journey to discover a hidden daughter after being expelled with lies. Jacob Reynolds stood on the precipice of his life, with his empire crumbling overnight. The news blared from every outlet, each report punctuated with the heavy weight of the word fraud. A single accusation had catapulted him from the corner office to the corner of the street, a respected CEO turned pariah in his own suburban community. Friends whispered behind closed doors, faces masked with thinly veiled pity. His heart felt tight, each breath a silent plea for understanding. Then a call came from an old college buddy, the kind that takes your breath away. "You have a daughter," he said, voice trembling with urgency. "Her name is Zoe. She's been living in a small town." Jacob's mind spun. A daughter? How could he not know? All those lost years he felt the weight of missed birthdays and unshared laughter crash over him like a tidal wave. But there was no time to process, he had to find her. He had to reach Zoe.as. He drove into the dusty heart of the rural town, guilt-filled memories filled his thoughts. He was a stranger here, among people whose lives unfurled around their gardens and coffee shops. The town was vibrant yet stifling, with eyes peering from across the sidewalk, weighty gazes that saw him as intruder, a fraud. A knot tightened in his chest as he recalled the life he'd known, one filled with glitz and endless corporate meetings. Here, everything was different. Here, respect was earned daily, not bought. Jacob's first sight of Zoe took his breath away. She was standing outside a quaint diner, her fiery locks swirling in the wind. A shiver ran down his spine as he walked towards her, heart pounding like a drum. She turned and their gazes locked. It was as if he could see the conflict behind her defiant blue eyes: anger, hurt, curiosity. "What do you want?" she challenged, crossing her arms like a fortress around her heart. Jacob fought against the wave of emotions crashing over him. Everything at that moment felt impossibly fragile, the air thick with unasked questions. "I want to explain." "I explain what?" she interrupted, voice rising. "Why, I'm just finding out I even had a father." He felt the weight of her resentment settle between them like a chasm. But something deep inside him shifted. He couldn't let this be their story. "I never knew. I didn't even. I want to know you." "I want what?" "To play dad now." She spat out, a sharp edge in her words that stung more than he could bear. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Zoe turned to walk away, and Jacob felt that old helplessness return, a turmoil that mirrored the chaos of his life. He couldn't allow this moment to slip away. "Wait. Please, Zoe, I'm not the man they say I am. I'm fighting this. I know I can't change the past, but I want to fight for us for a chance." Zoe paused, eyes narrowing as she assessed him. She was torn between the father she'd longed for and the betrayal she had felt. But he could see the flicker of vulnerability buried beneath her steel facade. As he took a step closer, shadows from his past began to loom larger, reminding him that even as they started this journey together, hidden enemies were plotting to destroy it. Old accusations were only the beginning. What lay ahead would test everything Jacob hoped to salvage. What secrets would he have to confront to keep her from turning away again? Desperation tinged the air as Jacob prepared for the battle of his life, not just for his daughter, but for their newfound connection. Jacob's heart raced as he stepped towards Zoe, desperate to breach the fortress around her heart. "I know you're angry, and you have every right to be. But I need you to know that I never chose to be absent. I would have fought for you." "Fought for me?" she scoffed, turning to face him fully now, arms still crossed defiantly. "You mean fought to keep your reputation clean? To protect your image? Spare me the drama, Jacob. I don't need your pity. Her words cut deeper than any accusation he had faced in the media. Please, I'm not asking for your forgiveness immediately. Just hear me out. Why? So you can unload all your excuses on me. That's not how this works. Zoe's voice rose with each syllable, a storm of emotion brewing just beneath the surface. Each word echoed with the pain of a life lived without him, without answers. Because I owe you a better explanation than whatever lies you've heard. This is real. I'm not the fraud they say I am. I want to be here for you, to understand everything. The tense silence crackled between them, simmering with resentment and longing. Jacob watched as Zoe's expression softened, if only for a brief moment. He seized it, moving nearer, keeping his voice low. Zoe, I'm scared too. Scared of losing this chance. I missed so much of your life. Don't you want to know why? Her defiance wavered, just slightly. He could sense it. A flickering of hope radiated within him as he saw the conflict play out in her eyes. I don't trust you, she finally said, voice steady yet filled with hurt. I know, he replied, his tone stripped of bravado. I don't expect trust overnight. But I promise I'll do everything I can to earn it. He took a deep breath, the reality of his failures weighing heavily on his chest. I came here to find you, to finally be part of your life, if you'll let me. Zoe held his gaze, measuring him as if weighing the truth of his words against the pain of her past. For a moment, the world around them faded, the diner, the judgmental eyes, the noise of the town. All that mattered was this fragile moment between father and daughter. What does that even look like? She whispered, vulnerability creeping into her voice. I don't know, he admitted, his heart aching at the raw honesty of the moment. But I want to start by listening to you. I want to know who you are. What you love, what you want, because you matter to me, Zoe. You always have. Her defenses were still high, but Jacob could feel the shift. The past they had never shared was daunting, and the uncertainty of the future loomed like dense fog. But for the first time, he felt a sliver of hope, a possibility that their relationship could transform. Look, maybe we can talk, she began, voice almost quaking. Just give me a chance, he urged, already mapping out a future they could both define together, step by tentative step, but just as he thought they might bridge the gap, a voice shattered the fragile moment. Zoe! Get in here! A woman's voice emerged from the diner door, rough and authoritative. Zoe flinched at the sound. That's my mom, she said, brow furrowing. I can't do this right now. Wait, Zoe, please. Jacob reached out, desperate to keep her from slipping away for a second time. Let's not end it here. Torn, Zoe turned her head back towards him. I'll think about it, she said, a hint of uncertainty creeping in. Then she was gone, leaving him standing alone, heart pounding, the reality of their conversation weighing heavy. Jacob looked out over the street, renewed urgency swirling within him. He had to uncover the truth, not just for his daughter, but to clear his name. As he left the diner, he couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. What he didn't know was that lurking in the shadows were secrets far deeper than he could have anticipated. Still reeling from Zoe's rejection, what would he discover next? Would he find the answers he sought, or more layers of the deception that had already turned his life upside down? Jacob stepped out of the diner, the afternoon sun blaring down, though it did little to warm the chill settling into his bones. A sense of urgency washed over him, spurring him forward. He needed answers. His mind raced with the memory of Zoe's face, her mixed emotions, the flicker of hope he had felt, all overshadowed by the weight of her pain. It felt surreal, and he struggled to focus as his thoughts darted from her possible reaction to the conversation ahead to questions about the past he had left behind. That he opened his phone, scrolling through recent messages, each one a reminder of the life he had made without her. Back in the city, he was known as a strong leader, but here, in this moment, he felt like a lost man. A man who had abandoned his own flesh and blood. As he turned the corner, the streets shifted from suburban charm to a more rundown neighborhood. A twinge in his gut told him this was the area where Zoe's mother used to live. Jacob hesitated, a mix of fear and uncertainty twisting within him. What if she saw him? What if she didn't want to talk? Would she see him as the man who had walked away, or the father who wanted to return? A figure caught his eye, a woman standing in front of an old house, hands on her hips, staring at a beaten-up car parked crookedly in the driveway. It was unmistakable, it was Zoe's mom. Before he could talk himself out of confronting her, he approached, the voices of his own self-doubt fading into the background. "Excuse me," he said, his voice more confident than he felt. She turned, and surprise washed over her features, quickly followed by a steely glare. "What do you want?" she asked, her tone cold. "I'm Jacob," he introduced, searching for the right words. "Zoe's father." She narrowed her eyes at him, the tension palpable. "You chose to be absent, Jacob. What makes you think you can just waltz back in now? I know I haven't been there for her, and I can't change that. But I need to explain to her. I want to earn a place in her life." Each word felt heavy, yet he knew he had to fight his way through this conversation. "Earn it? You think you can just say that and she'll believe you?" Her voice rose as she crossed her arms, a clear challenge in her stance. "You don't know what she's been through, what we've been through. I may have missed all those years, but I've carried the weight of my absence." Jacob reached for honesty. "I need to understand what has happened. I can't help her if I don't know what she's been through with you." Her expression softened, if only for a moment. "It's not that simple. Nothing worth it ever is." Jacob's heart raced as he pressed, willing her to see he was genuine. "Please, help me understand. I can't fix this, but I want to try." After a long pause, her shoulders relaxed slightly, but skepticism still lingered in her eyes. "You really think Zoe will want to see you after all this time?" "I believe she deserves a chance to decide for herself," he said firmly, a plea wrapped in conviction. "No promises, Jacob," she warned, yet he noticed a flicker of intrigue. "Just know that if you hurt her again, I won't let it slide. I wouldn't dream of it." He meant that with every fiber of his being. As he turned to leave, he felt a weight lift slightly. This was just the beginning of what he had to face. Still, the uncertainty loomed like heavy fog. Would Zoe really consider giving him a chance? And what if the shadows hiding the truth about her life revealed something he simply wasn't ready to handle? Suddenly, a rustle from behind the car caught his attention. An unfamiliar figure watched him, hidden in the shadows, tension radiating from every inch of their stance. Who were they? Did they know him, or was this a stranger who could unravel everything he was trying to rebuild? This confrontation wasn't over, and the answers he sought were still out of reach. Jacob's breath caught as he turned to fully face the figure. The person stepped forward, revealing a young man, perhaps in his early 20s, with sharp features and an intense gaze. There was an unfamiliar air about him, a mix of defiance and caution. "Who are you?" Jacob asked, trying to keep his voice steady. "I'm Liam," the young man replied, folding his arms defensively. "Zoe's brother." The weight of the revelation hit Jacob like a tidal wave. He hadn't known about another child. How could he have missed this? Brother? The word felt foreign, unfamiliar on his tongue. "I didn't know she had a brother." "Of course you didn't," Liam replied bitterly. "You weren't around. You left her alone to deal with everything. You really think you can just show up and fix things?" Jacob's heart ached at Liam's words. "I never wanted to leave her. If I could go back, but you can't." Liam interrupted, his voice a mixture of anger and hurt. "You left us. Mom struggled every day to make ends meet. Zoe, she had to grow up too fast because of you." "I know I made mistakes," Jacob said, desperation creeping into his voice. "But I came back to try to make things right." Liam shook his head, the tension hanging thick between them. Making things right? You think that's just a simple conversation? You have no idea what either of us has been through. I can try to understand, Jacob pressed, stepping forward, his hands half raised as if to show he meant no harm. Please, help me learn about her, about both of you. I want to be a part of her life. Why now? Liam countered, his gaze piercing. What changed? You're just a stranger trying to sweep in at the last second. Because I realized that being away from her was the biggest mistake of my life, Jacob replied, passion fueling his words. I've lived with that regret every single day. I want to know her, to support her. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm just asking for a chance. Liam stared at him, eyes searching for anything that echoed sincerity. The silence between them grew heavy, but Jacob could see a softening in Liam's expression, a flicker of curiosity mixed with caution. Zoe is hurting, Liam finally said, voice barely above a whisper. She's not the same little girl you left behind. You might not recognize her. A chill ran through Jacob. He had no idea what had happened in Zoe's life. What do you mean? She's been through a lot, Liam confessed. More than I can explain right now. Just know that she's fragile. If you're serious about this, you have to be ready for whatever comes next. You might not like what you find out. Jacob felt a shudder ripple through him at the thought. I can handle it. She deserves to know I care, even if I wasn't there. Liam continued to scrutinize him, torn between skepticism and the yearning for family that had been so long deprived. I'll think about it. But if I allow you to see her, don't screw it up again. Thank you, Jacob said, his heart racing, a glimmer of hope igniting in his chest. I won't let you down. As Liam walked back toward the house, Jacob felt the ground shift under his feet. There were layers upon layers to unravel, wounds deep enough to bleed memories he never imagined. That he looked back at Liam, who paused for a moment. Just remember, Jacob, this isn't a game. It's Zoe's life. The words echoed in Jacob's head, following him as he turned away. He had to find Zoe. He had to face whatever awaited him. The urgency surged within him again, mingling with both anxiety and determination. But deep down, he couldn't shake the feeling that there were secrets hidden in the shadows, waiting to burst forth at the worst possible moment. What truths would he uncover that could either bridge the distance between them or tear them apart forever? As he walked away from the house, his grip tightened around his phone. He needed to reach Zoe. He needed to find a way to connect, to show her he was here, ready to be the father she deserved, despite the hurdles waiting ahead. And when he finally found her, would she see him as a stranger, or could she let him become the dad he longed to be? The sun was beginning to dip below the horizon, casting long shadows across the street as Jacob made his way toward Zoe's school. His heart was racing, each beat echoing the anxiety rippling through him. What would he find? Would she even want to see him? He approached the school gate, the building looming ahead with its faded bricks and peeling paint. It felt like a monument to all the memories he had missed. A million questions swirled in his head. Was Zoe still the same spirited girl he once knew? Or had life turned her into someone he wouldn't recognize? He hesitated at the entrance, watching parents gather their children. Laughter and chatter filled the air, a stark contrast to the knot in his stomach. He spotted a girl with dark hair, laughing with her friends. His breath hitched. Was that Zoe? He took a step closer, trying to see her face. But there were so many distractions, kids bouncing in and out, parents waving goodbye. And just as he gathered enough courage to approach, the school bell rang, summoning kids to their buses. Jacob's heart sank. He needed to move, to find her. The pit of fear clawed at him. What if she left? What if this moment slipped away like everything else had? He spotted a familiar face among the parents. It was Liam, standing stiffly to the side, arms crossed. The two locked eyes for a fleeting moment, and Jacob felt a pang of panic. Would Liam tell Zoe he was here? Jacob hesitated, his mind racing. He didn't want to get in the way. All of Liam's warnings bubbled back to the surface. This was Zoe's life, he didn't want to disrupt it further. But then a clearly defined longing seemed to cut through the murmur of thoughts. He had to try. Taking a deep breath, he approached his former brother-in-law. Liam. Jacob called softly, not wanting to draw too much attention. Liam turned, his face a mixture of concern and irritation. What do you want? Is Zoe here? Can I see her? Jacob's voice was steady despite the storm of emotions raging inside him. Liam's forehead creased. Do you want her to see you like this? You look unsure. Do you even know what to say? The harshness in his words ignited Jacob's resolve. I'm trying to make things right, which is more than I can say for myself before. Doesn't matter, Liam said sharply. If you haven't realized by now, she's not just your daughter anymore. You better understand what that means before you even think about approaching her. Jacob nodded, the weight of responsibility heavy on his shoulders. I will, I promise. A school bus pulled up, and the kids began to board. Jacob squinted, searching the faces until he spotted Zoe. She stepped into view, eyes sparkling, laughing with a group of friends. She looked so different yet somehow the same. His heart swelled with emotion, but he kept his distance. Let us go, Liam said suddenly, realizing Jacob's eyes were locked onto Zoe. I'll drive her home. You've had your time. No. Jacob blurted. I can't let her leave like this. Please, just one moment. Liam paused, looking between his sister and Jacob. A tense silence hung in the air, neither of them moving. As the noise from the bus filled the street, Jacob felt the distance between him and Zoe stretch painfully. Would she even know he was standing there? Did she have any inkling of who he was? Suddenly, Zoe turned, her gaze sweeping across the lot as if sensing someone was watching her. Their eyes met, and in that split second, everything shifted. Jacob's heart raced, hope and fear colliding. Could he take a step forward? Would she hold out her hand or turn away forever? He took a breath, ready to bridge the distance, but what if she chose to remember the father who left instead of the man standing right before her? Jacob felt the air thicken around him as their eyes locked. Time seemed to stand still, the laughter of children and the chatter of parents fading into a distant hum. He saw the flicker of recognition in Zoe's eyes, followed by a flash of confusion. His breath caught in his throat. What had he expected? That she would simply run to him? He felt the weight of every decision he had made pressing down on his chest. She was still the little girl he loved, somewhere beneath the layers life had wrapped around her. But what had that life done to her? Liam shifted uncomfortably, breaking the spell. You should really think about your timing, he warned in a hushed tone, casting a cautious glance at Zoe, still standing by the bus door. Zoe finally broke away from her friends, her laughter fading as she approached the bus steps. Jacob's pulse quickened. Would she step off? Would she move toward him? Dad? She said it softly, almost hesitantly, as if testing the word on her tongue. Zoe, he managed, the name tasting both sweet and bitter. The moment lingered like a suspended breath. Children continued bustling around, but in this small universe they seemed to occupy, nothing else mattered. Jacob took a cautious step forward, closing the distance just a bit. What are you doing here? Zoe's voice wavered, showing the cracks in her bravado. The joy he'd once seen radiating from her was now tinged with uncertainty. I came to see you, Jacob replied, his heart hammering. I've been thinking about you. About us. The shadow of Liam loomed close, but Jacob couldn't focus on him now. Zoe's eyes darted between her father and her uncle, searching for answers. Why now? After all this time? I messed up, Zoe, he admitted, his voice cracking. I let fear drive me away. But I'm here now. I want to be a part of your life again. Zoe looked away, blinking rapidly as she processed his words. For a fraction of a second, she seemed to soften, but then her defenses came crashing back. "You're just saying that. You've never been there for me." Her words cut deep. Jacob swallowed hard, struggling to find the right thing to say. Against Liam's watchful gaze, against the responsibility of time lost, he felt more vulnerable than ever. "You're right. I didn't show up when it mattered. But I'm hoping it's not too late to change that." Zoe's expression was a mix of anger and disappointment. "What do you want me to say? That I'm happy to see you? I don't know you, and I'm not sure I want to." "I don't expect anything from you," Jacob clarified, pain flickering in his chest. I just want a chance to learn about you. To see the person you've become." She rubbed the back of her arms, a nervous gesture. "I'm not a kid anymore." "I see that," he responded, a small smile breaking through his anguish. "But I'm still your dad. I'll do whatever it takes to earn your trust back." Just then, the bus driver called for the last children aboard, and Zoe turned abruptly, as if caught between a decision. She glanced back at Liam. Can I think about it?" Jacob's heart sank. "Of course. Take all the time you need. I'll be around." As Zoe stepped back onto the bus, she stole one last glance at him, one he would carry with him. The doors shut, an audible click that felt like a door closing on his hope. "Nice going," Liam remarked coldly. "I'll find a way, Liam," Jacob said, determination replacing doubt. "This isn't over." But as the bus pulled away, he felt the weight of possibility shift once more. Was he too late to rewrite their story? In that moment, Jacob made a silent promise to himself to chase after the chance he still had, no matter the distance. But what if this time, Zoe chose to run from him for good? Jacob stood alone on the sidewalk, watching the bus disappear into the distance. The chatter of laughter abruptly faded, and silence wrapped around him like a heavy blanket. The moment she'd stepped away had been like watching a dream dissolve. He felt it then, an ache that settled deep within him. It wasn't just sadness, it was a mixture of regret and fear. What if Zoe really chose to walk away? Do you think she'll really think about it? Liam's voice pierced through the heavy quiet. Jacob turned towards his brother, clenching his jaw. "I hope so. I can't give up just yet. Listen, there's a lot that's happened." Liam's tone softened, but there was still a guardedness, like a protective barrier surrounding his heart. "She's been through a lot, Jacob. You think you can just walk in and act like a dad after all this time?" Jacob felt defensive. "I know I've messed up. But I want to change that. I want to be there for her." Liam stared at him, suspicion thick in his gaze. "And what if she doesn't want that? You have to be ready for that." As much as Jacob wanted to convince himself otherwise, a part of him understood that truth. He wasn't quite ready to share that fear, though. It gnawed at him like a hungry beast, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. "Look," Liam continued. "Why don't you just give her some space? She's had her life and you've had yours. It might not mesh anymore." "Space? No. That's not how this is going to go." Jacob took a deep breath, steeling himself. "I'm going to make this work." The resolve inside him grew. It wasn't just about making an attempt, it was a commitment. He wanted Zoe in his life now more than ever. Jacob spent the next few days replaying that moment over and over in his mind. Her face, the hesitation, the doubt. Each time he thought about it, it twisted in his chest like a knife. He couldn't let that be the end. Maybe he needed a plan. That he grabbed his phone and started searching for ways to reach out. Social media, friends of friends, anything that would bridge the gap. He stumbled upon the school's website, and that's when he saw it, the school's annual summer fair, a big event where families gathered. Maybe this was his chance. The fair was a few weeks away, and Jacob knew he couldn't just show up uninvited. He needed to find a way to ensure Zoe would be there. Excitement fluttered in his stomach, but he also felt a wave of anxiety crash over him. What if she wasn't ready to see him again? What if Liam was right, but pushing the doubt aside, he decided to book a booth. It would be a way to draw her in, not as a father trying to reclaim lost time but as someone genuinely interested in the things she liked. He could just be Jacob for a moment, not the man who had been absent, but the person he hoped to become. "Hey, what are you up to?" Liam's voice caught Jacob off guard. He hadn't realized his brother had approached. "Just planning on being at the fair," Jacob replied nonchalantly, not ready to share his real intent just yet. "Right." Liam crossed his arms, uncertainty etched across his features. "So you're going to take this path?" "I'm just figuring things out." "It starts here, doesn't it?" Liam sighed. "Just be careful. She might not want to remember you based on her past." Jacob wanted to argue, to turn that doubt around. But deep down, he knew nothing would change if he didn't try. As each day passed, the excitement built within him. It became his driving force, igniting hope like never before. The fair would be a turning point. He could feel it the beginning of a new chapter, but as the date approached, the lingering question loomed, would Zoe even come? And what if instead of finding a bridge, he merely faced a chasm? The days edged closer to the fair, and anticipation mixed with dread inside Jacob. His heart raced as he set up the booth, laden with colorful decorations and games for the kids. Each balloon that floated into the sky seemed to carry his hopes along with it. But even in the midst of laughter and playful shouts echoing across the fairground, he felt alone. The sounds of laughter surrounded him, children squealed as they ran past, parents chatted amiably, and vendors shouted about their treats. But all that joy felt distant, merely a backdrop to his growing anxiety. What if Zoe never showed? What if she walked right by him and didn't even glance in his direction? Liam had stopped by earlier, giving him a thumbs up but cautioning him once more. "Don't force it, Jacob. Just be ready." "Ready for what?" Jacob had shot back, a hint of frustration creeping in. "Ready for the possibility of losing her again?" Liam didn't have an answer, he simply nodded and left. The minutes crawled by as the sun dipped lower on the horizon. He looked at the clock again, impatiently. Just then, a group of familiar faces approached, and his heart dropped. Zoe's friends, laughing and bustling around, passing balloons back and forth. But no Zoe. Forcing a smile, he waved to them, trying not to let his vulnerability show. They didn't notice, their laughter echoed as they moved past, absorbed in their own little world. What if they come without her? He whispered to himself. Doubt was now a familiar companion, ghosting him like a shadow. He wondered what Zoe thought of him. Did she hate him? Did she even think of him at all? More booths sprang to life around him, drawing in families. He watched children win prizes, their faces lit with pure joy, and it stung. He was missing out on these moments with Zoe, ones that couldn't be recreated. Then, as if pulled by gravity, Jacob's eyes landed on a figure in the distance. A flash of brown hair caught in the breeze. His heart leaped, and he squinted. It was her. The world around him faded as he focused solely on her. Zoe stood there, hesitant, just far enough away to remain a stranger yet close enough that the memory of her laughter lingered in the air. She looked older, more mature, but undeniably still his daughter. The way she fidgeted with her phone, casting glances at her friends, felt achingly familiar. He fought the instinct to call out, he had to let her decide. What if she wasn't ready? There would be no second chance if he pushed it now. But then someone bumped into her, and she stumbled forward. Jacob's heart jumped. This was it. The opportunity he had been waiting for, a moment of fate that could change everything. He took a step forward, and then another. Each step was heavy, each movement weighed down with the knowledge of how much time had passed, of lost moments. Would she even want to talk to him? Did she have any love left to give after everything he had taken from her? Just as courage built within him, he saw Zoe turn away, her smile fading. She headed back into the safety of her friends. A wall began to rise in front of Jacob, a wall built of fear and embarrassment, of the past and potential rejection. A lump formed in his throat. This was real, and it felt like everything was slipping away again. Just when he thought all was lost, he caught a glimpse of Zoe looking back. A flicker of something, curiosity or maybe recognition, sparked in her eyes. Maybe this storm wasn't finished. Maybe there was still time. But would he have the chance to reach her before her friends whisked her away for good? Zoe, he muttered under his breath, a prayer and a plea, both desperate and hopeful. Jacob's heart raced as Zoe's gaze lingered on him for just a moment longer, as if she were weighing her options. The bustling fairground around him faded into a blur of colors and sounds, a dull background while the intensity of his feelings sharpened. Would she come to him? Would she remember the father she had lost? His feet felt rooted to the ground, but every fiber of his being urged him forward. Just as he took a tentative step, a high-pitched shriek broke through the clamor. A nearby game had captivated a group of children. They jumped and cheered, the sound slicing through his thoughts, shaking him from his reverie. Zoe turned her attention back to her friends, laughter replacing that fleeting connection they had. And with it, Jacob felt a weight pressed down on him, heavier than any fear he'd known. What if today was his only chance? What if he let this moment slip through his fingers? He took a deep breath, mustering every ounce of courage he possessed. I can do this, he whispered to himself, but his heart wasn't convinced. Another look at Zoe. She was smiling now, sharing in whatever inside joke her friends had woven around her. Laughter that had once been music to his ears now felt like a cruel reminder of his absence. They were building memories, and he felt like a ghost haunting the edges of them. Hey, how about some free candy? He called out, hoping the gesture would catch her attention. The words came out louder than he intended, slicing through the noise. Zoe's friends turned, laughter still bubbling, but it was Zoe who hesitated. Her brow knitted in thought. She glanced at her friends, who looked back at her quizzically. Then, with an uncertain expression, she stepped away, her path veering slightly toward him. Jacob felt his stomach drop. Could this be it? Dad? Zoe's voice was timid and quivered with disbelief as she approached, her friends trailing cautiously behind her. The word hung in the air, raw and vulnerable, and it sent a ripple of warmth through Jacob's chest. Yeah, he replied, trying to keep his voice steady. It's me. He swallowed hard, pulling together fragments of hope that threatened to scatter. I just wanted to see you. The look on her face was a haze of surprise and skepticism. Why now? After all this time? The words tumbled out, her hurt flowing beneath a surface of curiosity. He could see the conflict in her eyes, the remnants of love battling against the pain of his absence. I know I've made mistakes, Zoe. I never wanted to hurt you. I wanted to be here for you, to see you grow, to be part of your life. I've just been lost. I'm so sorry. Zoe glanced back at her friends for support, her uncertainty palpable. Jacob's heart raced. He needed to bridge this gap, to guide her through the thicket of emotions. Can we talk? Just us. Please. A moment hung suspended, the weight of every missed holiday, every half-hearted attempt to connect from afar, throttling him with regret. Finally, an imperceptible nod from Zoe sent a surge of relief coursing through him. Just give me a minute, she said, though her voice trembled. As they stepped away from her friends, Jacob felt a glimmer of connection sparking back to life. The world around them faded as they moved closer to one another, two incomplete puzzles searching for the missing pieces, but lurking in the shadows of the fair, his past was not far behind, looming and ready to shatter this fragile moment. Could he truly seize this chance to rebuild, or was this just another illusion? The warm afternoon sun dipped lower in the sky, casting a golden hue over the fairgrounds. Jacob stood in front of Zoe, heart racing like a drum. She was so close, yet the specter of their past loomed heavily between them. He could see the resolve flicker in her eyes, a battle between fear and the hope for connection. Each second stretched painfully. "Why now, Dad?" she asked, crossing her arms. "You couldn't be bothered before. What's different?" "I've realized how much I've lost," Jacob replied, tone earnest, fighting the swell of emotions. "I've spent too long hiding from my own mistakes. I want to face them now, face you." Zoe looked away, biting her lip as if physical pain could hold back the flood of feelings. The air felt thick with unspoken words. He could see she was torn, a tangle of anger and longing battling for control. "Do you even get how hard it was for me?" she finally said, her voice fragile. "I had to grow up without my father. I had to deal with my mom, the questions, people asking why you weren't around. I can't imagine," Jacob admitted gently, feeling the weight of her truth. "But I want to understand. I want to know everything, what it was like for you. I don't expect you to forgive me right away, but I want to be here now, if you'll let me." Zoe hesitated, the fidgeting of her fingers betraying the storm within her. Jacob felt a deep pang of longing as he recalled all those moments they had lost, birthdays, holidays. A lifetime of love shrunk to this fragile moment. "I need to think, okay?" Zoe said, finally looking up, blue eyes shimmering with doubt. "This isn't just about you showing up. I know. Just, give me a chance," Jacob said, vulnerability lacing his words. "I'm scared, too. Scared of losing you again." With a nod, she stepped back, as if creating distance even though she was standing right in front of him. "I'll think about it," Zoe said softly, but he could see the uncertainty laced within those words. "I'll do anything to earn that chance," he promised, watching as she turned to leave. His heart sank, knowing every moment spent apart felt like another barrier built between them. Just then, a familiar voice broke through the air. Liam appeared from the crowd, searching for Zoe, eyes narrowing as he spotted them. Jacob braced himself, prepared for another confrontation. But even with Liam's protective glare, there was no stopping the emotions that surged within him. "Hey, you okay?" Liam asked Zoe, noticing the change in her demeanor. "Want to go?" Zoe hesitated, glancing back at Jacob one last time. I think I will," she said, taking a step away. "Zoe, please," Jacob said, desperation coating his words. Can we do this together?" But the moment shattered as Liam stepped in, shielding Zoe as they moved away, leaving Jacob standing alone once more. The echoes of laughter around him felt mocking now, the bustle of life moving on as he felt immobile, cast away by everyone he had lost. As the fair began to wind down, Jacob kept replaying their brief interaction. Each word Zoe had said echoed in his mind. She had hesitated, the door was slightly ajar, just enough for hope to slip through. Perhaps this was the beginning. Days turned into weeks, and with each passing moment, Jacob worked on himself. He sought therapy, addressed his past, and began rebuilding the shattered image he had let the world see. Then, the day of the annual summer fair sprang back around. Excitement brewed like a storm in his chest. Jacob set up the booth again, but this time he came prepared to offer a space for honesty, for connection, and above all, for Zoe to choose him whether she was ready or not. As the sun hung high and the fair came to life once more, there she was, Zoe, standing with her friends, eyes scanning the crowd. Each beat of Jacob's heart thrummed with anticipation. This was their moment. "Hey, Zoe!" he called out, his voice carrying over the joyful din. She turned, surprise coloring her face. For a heartbeat, recognition flickered in her eyes. Jacob stepped forward, adherence to pure hope guiding him. "Can we talk?" Zoe hesitated, biting her lip, casting a brief glance at her friends before nodding slowly. The decision hung in the air, shimmering with potential yet weighed down by the past. "Okay," she finally said, approaching, heart pounding in time with his own. Jacob took a deep breath, feeling the tide of fear recede, replaced by an overpowering urge to hold on to this chance. This was it. This time, he wouldn't let her go this time, he would show her that he was ready to embrace the reality of their relationship, and as they began to talk, unsure where the conversation would lead, Jacob felt something new blooming inside him. The future, once obscured by shadows of the past, now gleamed visibly in the daylight with a flicker of connection waiting just beneath the surface, ready to break through. It was time for them to embrace a new beginning, one where he would fight for her with everything he had. Right here, right now, he was reclaiming not just his daughter, but himself. This was just the beginning. Now, if you're feeling inspired by Jacob and Zoe's journey of transformation, don't wait any longer. You need to subscribe now to ensure you don't miss the next exclusive stories that will touch your heart. Leave a like immediately to feed that algorithm and keep the story alive. Drop a comment below sharing your thoughts, feelings, or comparisons to your own journey, and share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait, not even one more second. Only true fans understand how important your support is to keep these stories coming.